What a video we have in store for you today, and what a guest. It's Max from Tasting History. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited. The thing I'm most excited for is that you're going to be able to sense check some of my historical facts.
Maybe.
No pressure.
Maybe.
We have 4 amazing kitchen gadgets from across history for you to use, review, and let us know your thoughts on. The first is under the cloche, so give it a lift.
Please, do the
All
honours.
right. Voila.
Any clues?
I mean, the first thing I think is a giant candle snuffer, but
That's what I
surely
was
that's
thinking.
not it.
And it doesn't make any sense to be in a kitchen gadget, other than I suppose they would have cooked by candlelight.
And actually, Wee Willy Winky was Ben's nickname at school. So.
Charming. And this little sort of heart-shaped nozzle on the dome twists and scoops. Do you know what it does look like?
Here we go.
Normally it would be operated like that, as an
Yeah.
ice cream scoop.
Ah.
This is the Claw Patent Ice Cream Disher. This patent ice cream disher is constructed with 2 revolving knives which cut the cream loose, thereby avoiding the adhering of the cream to the sides. This is a most excellent device for dishing up for the saloon trade, festivals, etc. So there's the original poster.
Complete with 12 reasons why this, 12 USPs.
I love that.
No adhering of cream to the side of the disher because of the twisty nozzle.
The twisty nozzle.
I think that's probably the only good thing. I can't believe they've found 11 more selling points.
So, in the late 1800s, ice cream was a lot softer and a lot smoother to scoop, and they'd used standard spoons to do so. However, as refrigeration sort of became more widespread and ice cream got firmer, the old cone shape that you have there actually became a ball scoop to make the scooping and the balling a lot easier.
This was perfect for the penny lick.
The penny lick.
Do you know the penny lick?
Here we go, this is why he's here, guys.
Out on the street, they would have a cup and they would put the ice cream in it and you would get a lick.
For a penny?
For a penny. You'd usually get a few licks for a penny, but then it'd get passed around. And they
Communal
would,
licking?
yeah, they'd rinse it out maybe, or just kind of wipe it out, but everybody shared one
This
dish.
penny lick.
Do you
Yeah.
think that's why people lived to the age of 45 back then?
Being a bit of a cheapskate, I'm a big fan of selling point number 9. As a rule, in dishing up with the spoon, you always give more than is necessary naturally to your loss. So this is about standardization and portion control.
Yeah.
And built for commercial usage, right? We've talked a lot about it. Let's use it.
All right.
We have some softened ice cream to try and remain as historically accurate as possible. Let's see how it operates.
Look at that.
There's
you go.
your cone of ice cream.
How was that to use, Max?
Well, it works.
Really annoying. You're still scooping. The
Yeah.
motion is still scooping. So the only thing, what I'm wondering, is if they took a spoon and kind of spooned it in.
Yeah, perhaps.
And then
actually.
Maybe. Or perhaps they weren't scooping from 1 litre cartons.
No,
That
so
could also
they
be.
basically had these huge pewter vats that they would add their ingredients to and then agitate. So I imagine perhaps they were just going straight into the vat and then out, which is obviously a huge vessel.
I love ice cream at this period. Do you know Agnes Marshall, the queen of the ices? So she was around at this period and she wrote several cookbooks with lots and lots of different ice cream recipes. And in the back, half of the book was just advertisements for different ice cream makers and different ice cream molds. So she had things like this, but it was also like a cucumber mold, and you would put cucumber ice cream in it so that it would come out looking like a
That's
cucumber.
the kind of novelty I still love. Selling point number 11 on that card was it's made strong to last. It still works.
Still works.
So back in the late 1800s, these were sold for 50 cents, which, taking into consideration inflation, works out at about $13.50 today. Would you like to know how much we paid for it to get hold of it, seeing as it's an antique?
Yes.
We paid £63.25.
Oh, wow.
That's quite a lot.
That's
Quite a lot of money. Working ones are actually quite difficult to find. So the question we're all asking, the patented ice cream disher, is it built to last or best left in the past?
I mean, I would say physically it is built to last,
It still works.
but a scoop is just much better.
Well, great start. Could we lift the cloche on number 2?
What do we got this time?
Oh.
These are the type of antique gadgets that I love. Something with a mechanism.
It's got a drawer at the front. So whatever it is, we're
I think I know what this one is.
grinding, right?
It's a coffee grinder.
Absolutely correct. Yes, this antique coffee grinder allowed the user to now grind beans at home. By filling the topper with the beans and turning the handle, freshly ground coffee will appear in the collection drawer below. But this was made by Kendrick & Sons of West Bromwich in Staffordshire, here in the UK. Coffee was a favourite for the wealthy by sort of 1750 and often ground by grocers. This invention enabled people who could afford coffee beans to grind and make coffee at home. So this particular coffee grinder dates back to 1850. Would you like some beans? Would you like to give it a go?
Oh, yes, we would. I don't know how many to put. Well, that's about it, I think. You'd really want to have a cup of coffee.
How does it feel to use it, Max?
Tedious.
Oh.
Though it's so important because, like, once you grind the coffee, it starts to, kind of lose flavor and everything.
I mean, it's definitely
it's working.
That
and
is
it's
a
a fine grind.
but it's quite smooth. It's not as if it's getting caught or stuck as it's going.
I'm using a tin opener.
I mean, it's a good mechanism. It's just slow.
Takes a while. Yeah, and slow. We've had coffee in the UK since the 17th century. In 1650, we had the first coffee shop or coffee house in Oxford. And actually, coffee was the drink of choice at that time.
My understanding was it was also quite a gender split originally because the
Very
coffee
much.
houses were very much, at the time, the philosophers and the doctors and the scientists and the botanists and all the ists would gather and debate life over a cup of steaming caffeinated drink, whereas tea originally became sort of the afternoon tea and the ladies' drink. Obviously now and much has changed, but that's also my understanding where it began.
The coffee houses, so much came out of those early coffee houses, though. That's where we get newspapers, as we know them today. Because each coffee house, there was the coffee house for architects and the coffee house for people who were trading in the West Indies and coffee houses for the educators. And so they would write down what they had kind of talked about that day, and they would compile it and share it with the other coffee houses. And that was the beginning of the modern version of our newspapers today. There was also a period where I believe it was Charles I wanted to outlaw coffee and outlaw coffee houses because he saw them as dens of
Challenges.
free thinkers who were coming for his power. And there was actually a law that was put out that you have to close down all the coffee houses. And I think it lasted 2 weeks.
Before the caffeine shakes.
Yeah. People were like, nope, that's you've gone too far.
Well, it definitely works, Mike. We have ground coffee and it's pretty damn fine.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Well, we paid £60 for this, for a working version in pretty decent nick, to be honest.
You get more bang for your buck than you do with a disher.
Yeah.
Do you like it? And obviously, is it built to last or best left in the past?
I would say built to last. I mean, it still works really well. It's slow going, but I feel like today they still do have some that are, manual, and it's no slower than one of those.
This is the thinking man's drink, and therefore you can take your time to grind a little bit nice and slow, and what you end up with is a great grind.
Yeah.
Thinking person's drink.
Nowadays, correct.
Number 3, lift the cloche.
Almost fits under the cloche.
I feel like smoke should come out when I lift that.
Yeah, I mean,
Like a
we're working
Michelin
on our-
star restaurant,
Working on our production values. Now this one's a giveaway because it's actually etched into the thing. But before you read it, any ideas?
It doesn't look that old.
It's some sort of strainer, but it's too, it looks like almost like French press-ish. The holes are too big, so it's not that.
I wonder if it's a preservation jar, like a fermentation jar we'd have for sauerkraut today.
We'll give it a spin. What's written on the jar?
Mayonnaise maker.
Yes, this is the Wesson Oil Mayonnaise Maker. Whip with one hand, pour with the other. Perfect mayonnaise in 1.5 minutes. This 1930s mayonnaise maker features an indented lid which allows you to pour in oil, and the oil then slowly drips down the central rod. It features an indented bottom which is surrounded by a mesh cup used to agitate the mayonnaise mixture.
So you're doing that
Yeah.
as you're pouring in, it's going glug, 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 glug.
So Western Oil, originally the Southern Cotton Oil Company, they decided to make a at-home mayonnaise maker. So this was on mail order back then, but a lot of people were losing the instruction manual that came with it. So they printed the recipe on the side of the jar so you wouldn't need to keep on referring to the document.
Solution driven.
Brilliant.
Do you want to give it a go?
I think we ought to.
Oh, yeah.
With the original recipe?
Oh, yeah.
Great! So this is actually an original. Western Oil from Memphis in Tennessee. We think that this gadget was sold between 1933 and 1935.
Okay, so now in theory, this is to be operated by a single person. So, yeah, good luck.
So we just pour.
So there's plenty of a well up top, but it's only letting through a very little amount at a time, which is sliding down the rod to our agitated, indented bottom. And as a result, emulsification is happening.
I mean, from here it looks like it's working. How's it feel, Max?
It's getting thicker. I can tell that. But it feels. I mean, it's super easy.
I think it seems to be working nicely.
I think partly with making sauces without this, you know, it's hard to keep that steady stream, and this does it for you.
Once that last bit's through, I think we're going to have mayonnaise.
I really like the idea that we're getting an insight into the mail order, the catalogue, culture and product of the 1930s.
Which really is no different to the Amazon and Timo and equivalents that we have now, where you see a kitchen gadget and you think, I need that in my life. You buy it and then it arrives, you think, I probably didn't need that in my life.
The big difference is
Actually, this
now
works.
if you order it, you get it tomorrow, whereas back then you order it, you get it like 2 months later on the Wells Fargo wagon. Oh yeah, now it's really getting thick.
That is nice and thick.
I did not expect that to work.
I am actually genuinely surprised at how easy and efficient and successful that was to make mayonnaise.
I mean,
I'm not sure in our recipes nowadays we'd add sugar, but made with cottonseed oil it was necessary, which is probably slightly more bitter, astringent than the vegetable oils that we use today.
I don't know.
So back in 1933, these were selling for 65 cents, with an additional 16 cents for postage, which when you take today's inflation into consideration comes out about $9 for the product alone and $3.11 for postage, so $12 for the whole package.
That's actually a really good deal.
I think I already know the answer to this, but the Western Oil mayonnaise maker, is it built to last or best left in the past?
Built to last.
That is surprisingly still very good.
Yeah. In fact, I wish it would make a comeback. Like, I would get that.
Well, this is the platform to do it.
Yeah. Wesson, come on.
Can't wait to get your thoughts on this one.
Ice cream, coffee, mayonnaise, and
Lift the cloche.
Ta-da!
quite a contraption.
What's that?
So what do you need to make look like a chicken drumstick?
Or an aubergine. Yeah, I don't know. Is this like the original way to make chicken nuggets so it still looks like a chicken drumstick?
Well, interestingly, there is a hole at the end.
Yeah, that you could
Put a skewer through.
put meat in there or something.
God, these guys know what they're talking about.
You're kidding me. This isn't to
Is
make
it
like
to make-
koftas, is it? That are made chicken shaped.
This is the chicken drumstick mold, a very popular product in the
I
1950s.
said that as a joke. I didn't actually mean that.
1950s, of course.
So bear with me. During the Great Depression, chicken was seen as quite an expensive meat and not many people could get hold of it. So we'd take the offcuts of pork and veal and use a mould like this to mould it into what was called city chicken. And then they'd bread and deep fry them and feel like they were having chicken. Have you heard of city chicken before?
I have not. Please tell me we get to try this one.
Oh, 100%.
Excellent.
It's a meat alternative, but not a meat replacement.
Yeah, up until the 50s, chicken wasn't as readily available. More of the higher, middle and upper classes would have their chicken dinners, but they were the only communities that could afford chicken. So everyone else, all the rest of us, would claw together whatever we could find and damn well have some fake chicken.
Well, because your chicken, you didn't want to kill it to eat it because it was making you eggs every day. So it was much more useful to keep your chicken alive. Kind of reminds me of the McRib. How it's like it's molded to look like something that it's not.
Well, we've talked about it a lot. Let's make some city chicken.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Okay, so you have some pork mince, you have flour, egg, breadcrumbs for your pane, and some skewers. Let's give it a go.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Lead the way, Max.
All right.
Excellent.
That was so satisfying.
Evans is on skewer patrol. Oh my goodness.
We've got a chicken drumstick.
It's so smooth.
And it is nice and compact.
It's like a Ken doll. I love, Max, that you've been in the UK, you've been going to castles doing research for your channel, things that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, and the final thing that you're doing in the country is moulding chicken drumsticks. End on a high.
And happy to do it.
I mean, there's no denying that I think it's going to work. And a gentle cook so that it goes nice and golden whilst cooking through to the middle. But if you think there was an era, and often much before just the 1950s, where fake food was a thing, so mock apple pie that were made with green tomatoes.
Since the Middle Ages, they've been doing it. I just went to a restaurant called Dinner by Heston, and he's influenced by all sorts of, yes, you guys have been there, early recipes, including his meat fruit, which is basically foie gras that has been shaped into a piece of fruit. And that was just a common thing to do in the Middle Ages. Because they were bored, I feel. The cooks at the time were bored.
Yeah.
99% of the population was starving, just eating anything they could. And then the kings were like, make that meat look like that fruit.
So, there's your city chicken, or mock chicken, it was also referred to in the early 1900s. Smells great.
I mean, it looks
It
the
does.
part.
Give it a go. Give it a blow, then give it a go then.
Cheers.
That's delicious.
Absolutely nothing like chicken, but quite delicious. However, if you also put into that maybe some sage and onion,
Yeah.
the kind of flavours you might associate with chicken or turkey, you could trick your mind into thinking this is like a sage and onion chicken stuffing kind of thing. But at the moment, that's a sausage breaded in the shape of a drumstick.
I love it.
Well, we paid £70 for this.
Do you reckon it's going to come back in? It existed in the 1950s when there was the Great Depression. And right now with the cost of living crisis, and we know how expensive meat is, that maybe the cheaper offcuts, perhaps not veal, but pork, maybe there's a place for it to be reignited.
I doubt it. Namely because nobody is willing to go through that amount of work.
True.
But lads, do you see the chicken drumstick mould as being built to last or best left in the past?
I'd say best left in the past. It does what it purports to do, and it does it very well. I think it's very unnecessary though.
It's a fun bit of kit that definitely still works, but day to day, best left in the past.
I mean, I don't want to assume that we've made your entire trip, but
It's the highlight, the pinnacle, and
They say save the best till last.
Exactly. I should get on a plane because I'm not going to get any better than this.
Thank you so much for joining
yeah,
us.
thanks for coming to hang out. Make sure you definitely check out Max's channel, Tasting History with Max Miller. It's unbelievable. This guy really does know his stuff, and the cooking's fantastic too. And also, comment down below. Did you like those gadgets? Do you think that they're built to last or best left in the past? And if you've seen anything that could make its way into a future episode, make sure you let us know and we'll get hold of it for review in the future about the past.